Hey, you're quiet again, I said, setting her cup on the table.
2 sugars, just how you like it. Sophia didn't look up from her phone. Thanks, she murmured. I sat across from her. You haven't finished your coffee all week, she sighed. I've just not been sleeping well. That's new. You used to fall asleep mid-movie. I tried to smile. She forced one back. Yeah, well, life's different now, I leaned forward. Different how? Ethan, please, she said softly. Not now. There it was again. That wall between us. I could almost hear it. It's always not now lately. I'm tired, she whispered, rubbing her temples. Everything's too much. Work, wedding, people asking questions. I just need space to breathe. Space from me? I asked before I could stop myself. Her eyes flickered, guilt flashing and fading fast. From everything. Don't twist it. I'm not twisting anything, Sophia. I'm trying to understand. She looked down. Maybe that's the problem. You try too hard. Her words stung more than I expected. I'm sorry for caring. That's not what I meant. She pushed her chair back, stood, and walked to the window. I just feel trapped. Like everyone expects me to be perfect. I followed her with my eyes, not my feet. You're not trapped. You're loved. Sometimes love feels like a cage, she whispered. I didn't know what to say to that. I wanted to tell her she was my world, that everything I did, the long hours, the plans, the house deposit, was for us. But my throat closed up. When did we start talking like strangers? I asked quietly. She turned, eyes glistening. I don't know. Maybe when we stopped listening. I exhaled slowly. I've been listening, Sophia. You're just not talking. She looked like she wanted to argue, but instead she sat down again. Can we not fight, please? I'm not fighting, I said. I'm just scared. You feel far away even when you're here. She fiddled with her ring. Maybe I'm just trying to find myself again. Find yourself? I repeated. Were you lost? She hesitated. I think so. Did I make you feel that way? She didn't answer. Silence said more than words could. Are you unhappy with me? No, she said too quickly. It's not about you. It feels like it is. Her phone buzzed. She grabbed it instantly. Her lips twitched into a small smile before she locked the screen. Who's that? I asked. Just work stuff, she replied, too fast, too nervous. Work makes you smile now? Her gaze snapped up. Don't do that, Ethan. Do what? Interrogate me. You're making everything worse. I'm trying to save what's left, I said quietly. She looked away. Maybe that's not your job anymore. Those words hung in the air like a crack in glass. What does that mean? It means I don't know who I am right now, she said. And I can't marry you until I figure it out. The room went silent. My chest felt tight. So you want to postpone the wedding? Just take a little time apart, she said carefully. Not forever. Just a break. The word tasted like metal. You really think space will fix us? I don't know, Ethan. I just know I can't keep pretending I'm okay. I nodded slowly. If that's what you need, I won't stop you. She looked surprised. Just like that? What else can I do? Beg you to stay when you already left in your heart? Her eyes watered. Don't say that. It's true, I whispered. You're here, but not with me. She reached for my hand, but stopped halfway. I never wanted to hurt you. You didn't want to, I said, but you're doing it anyway. Tears welled up, but she blinked them back. I just need to figure things out. Then figure them out, I said, standing up. But don't keep me waiting in the dark, she flinched at my tone. I didn't mean for it to get like this. I know. I picked up her untouched coffee and poured it down the sink. That's the problem. None of us mean it until it's too late. She stood frozen as I walked to the door. Ethan. I paused but didn't look back. What? Her voice trembled. I love you. I closed my eyes. Then why does it feel like you don't? She didn't answer. And maybe that was my answer. My phone buzzed just as I sat down to eat. Ryan's name flashed on the screen. Hey, little brother! His voice was bright, too bright. Guess what? Mom's hosting a family dinner this Sunday. You and Sophia have to come. I leaned back. That's sudden. She misses you, he said. We all do. It's been ages since we had dinner together. It's been 2 months, I said flatly. Exactly. Ages, he laughed. Bring Sophia. I miss seeing you two together. There was something in his tone. Smooth, rehearsed, maybe a little forced. You sure this isn't Mom's idea? Mine, actually, he replied quickly. Come on, Ethan, don't make me beg. I hesitated. Sophia's been off lately. I'm not sure she'll want to go. She'll love it, he said. Family, food, good vibes, and what could go wrong? I forced a laugh. Plenty, he chuckled. Don't overthink it. Sunday 7 p.m. sharp. I'll text you the details. Fine, I said. We'll be there. After the call, I stared at my plate, appetite gone. Something about Ryan's voice bothered me. Too polished, too eager. But I pushed the thought aside. Maybe I was just paranoid. When Sophia came home, I told her. Mom's dinner this Sunday. Ryan called. She froze mid-step. Ryan called you? Yeah, why? Her voice softened. Nothing. Just didn't expect him to reach out. I studied her. You don't want to go? She looked away. I don't know if I should. Should? I repeated. It's family dinner, not a trial. Her fingers tightened around her phone. Things just feel complicated lately. Between us? I asked quietly. She nodded, barely. Between everything, I moved closer. Maybe being around family will help. It might feel normal again, she sighed. Normal's a big word. I'll take even half of normal, I said. Please, just come. For me? Her shoulders slumped. All right. For you, she gave me a small, tired smile. The kind that didn't reach her eyes. The next few days dragged. She kept busy, or maybe she kept busy avoiding me. I tried to talk, to reconnect, but every conversation ended with, I'm tired, or can we not do this now? At work, Liam noticed immediately. You look like you fought a ghost, he said, leaning over my desk. Something like that, I muttered. He frowned. You and Sophia still weird? Yeah, I think she's pulling away, he whistled. Man, that's rough. You should take her somewhere, distract her. She doesn't even want dinner with my family, I said. Liam smirked. Maybe that's exactly why she should go. Nothing brings people closer than awkward family conversations. I chuckled weakly. You're terrible at advice. I'm realistic, he said. People don't drift for no reason. Find the reason. His words stuck with me. Find the reason. I didn't know what it was. I just knew something was slipping through my fingers. That night, I came home early. The apartment was quiet. The kind of quiet that hummed with tension. Sophia was on the couch, phone in hand, smiling softly at the screen. It was the same smile she used to give me. Gentle, private, glowing. Hey, I said, setting my keys down. She looked up, startled. Hey, you're home early. Yeah, I said. Long day. Who were you talking to? Her thumb hovered over the screen before she locked it. Just Emma from work. I sat beside her. You seemed happy. Haven't seen that smile in a while. She shifted uncomfortably. It's just, she said something funny. Right. I tried to sound casual, but my chest felt tight. You don't believe me? She asked. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. I rubbed my temples. Sophia, I'm not accusing you of anything. I just miss us. I miss how we used to be. She stared at her phone again. I told you I need time. And I told you I'll give it. But time doesn't mean silence. She stood, grabbing her coat. I'm going for a walk. It's late, I said. I need air. She left before I could reply. The door shut gently, not angrily, and somehow that hurt more. I sat there in the half-dark, listening to the hum of the fridge, wondering who she smiled at, and when I became someone she stopped wanting to talk to, I told myself it was just stress, just a phase. But deep down, I already knew something was breaking. I just didn't know how much it would cost to face it. Relax, Ethan, Sophia said as I adjusted my tie. It's just dinner. Dinner with my family, I replied. That's not just dinner, she smirked faintly. You worry too much. I'm trying to make things feel normal again. She didn't answer. Her reflection in the mirror looked calm. Too calm. When we arrived, the house smelled like rosemary and old memories. My mother's voice floated from the kitchen. You're late. We're right on time, I said, stepping inside. She appeared, flower on her cheek, eyes bright. Sophia, you look stunning. Thank you, Mrs. Cole, Sophia said politely. Mrs. Cole, my mother laughed. You'll be family soon. Call me Martha. Sophia smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Ryan emerged from the dining room, sleeves rolled, grinning. There's the happy couple. Hey, big brother, I said, forcing a smile. He hugged Sophia first. You look beautiful, he said softly, holding her a beat too long. I I felt a flicker of something cold in my gut. Nice to see you too, I muttered. He clapped my shoulder. Don't be jealous, man. I'm just being friendly. Sure, I said, my voice dry. Dinner began like a perfect scene. Candles, laughter, plates clinking. My father poured wine while my mother bragged about Ryan's promotion. Ethan, Dad said, you've been quiet lately. Everything okay at work? Yeah, I said. Just busy, Sophia smiled politely. He's been working hard. Maybe too hard, Ryan chuckled. Always the perfectionist. I noticed Sophia glance at him, quick, nervous. He smiled back. My stomach tightened. So, Mom said, how are the wedding plans? Sophia shifted. We're taking things slow. Ryan's fork paused midair. Slow? She nodded. Just until we figure out a few things. Like what? Mom asked. Nothing big, I said quickly. Just details, Ryan grinned. You're not having cold feet, are you? Sophia laughed softly. Maybe a little. The table erupted in light teasing, but I wasn't laughing. Her tone sounded too real. My father lifted his glass. To family, Ian to the future Mr. and Mrs. Cole. We raised our glasses. I forced a smile. Underneath, something felt wrong, a pulse of dread I couldn't shake. Halfway through dinner, the air thickened. Ryan leaned closer to Sophia, whispering something that made her blush. She covered it with a sip of wine. I told myself I was imagining it. I had to be. Ethan, Mom said, snapping me out of it. You remember the Carsons? Their daughter's having a baby. Yeah, I said absently. Ryan laughed at something Sophia said. Their shoulders brushed. I felt my jaw clench. Everything all right? Dad asked. Fine, I lied. Just hot in here. Ryan passed Sophia the bread basket, their fingers brushing, too naturally, too familiar. I tried to focus on my plate, on the chatter, on anything but them. Then it happened. Sophia's napkin slipped, and as she reached down, I glanced under the table. Just for a second, Ryan's hand was holding hers, not in passing. Not by accident. Their fingers were intertwined. I froze. The noise around me dimmed, fading into nothing but the sound of my own heartbeat. My fork slipped from my hand, hitting the plate with a sharp clang. Everyone turned. Ethan? My mother asked. You okay? Yeah, I said quickly. Just dropped something. Sophia's face drained of color. Her eyes met mine, wide, terrified. Ryan didn't move his hand. He just stared at me, calm, unreadable. I forced a smile, bent down, and picked up the fork. My hands were shaking. When I sat back up, I saw it again. Her trembling lips, his steady gaze, their silent guilt. No one else noticed. My mother kept talking. My father refilled glasses. Laughter returned. But everything inside me cracked. So, Sophia, Mom said, you and Ryan used to work on that charity project, right? Sophia's voice trembled. Yeah, a while ago. Ryan added quickly, we make a great team. I felt the words like a blade. I laughed, small, controlled. Yeah, you do, Sophia shot me a pleading look. Ethan, what's wrong? Ryan asked, feigning innocence. Nothing, I said. Everything's perfect. Mom smiled, relieved. Good. I was worried you two were too stressed. Not stressed, I said softly. Just seeing things clearly. The rest of the meal blurred. I spoke when spoken to, smiled when expected, laughed when I had to. Inside, my mind screamed. When dessert came, Ryan poured more wine for Sophia. To finding yourself, he said quietly. Her hand trembled as she lifted her glass. To finding yourself, I echoed, my voice steady but empty. After dinner, I helped clear the plates, pretending normalcy. My mother hummed, Ryan joked, Sophia avoided my eyes. When it was time to leave, Ryan hugged me. Good to see you, man. You too, I said, smiling so wide it hurt. He leaned close, whispering, Don't look at me like that. Like what? I asked. Like you know something. I met his eyes. Maybe I do. He hesitated just for a second. Enough. Sophia stood by the door, silent. Her hands were trembling. Ready? I asked her. She nodded, voice faint. Yeah. We walked to the car in silence. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. She opened her mouth. Ethan, Not now, I said. The night swallowed us whole. and for the first time I realized love could end quietly, with nothing but the sound of silverware and silence. The house felt heavier than usual. The silence pressed against me the moment we stepped inside. I closed the door slowly. "How long?" Sophia froze by the hallway mirror. "Ethan, don't stall." "How long?" Her lips quivered. "Please, let me explain." "That's what I'm asking you to do," I said, my voice trembling. "Explain," tears welled in her eyes. "It wasn't supposed to happen. How long?" I repeated, louder this time. She covered her face. "Months." I felt the word hit me like a blade. "Months," I whispered. "While we were planning the wedding." She nodded weakly. "It started with messages. I didn't mean for it to— Stop!" My hands shook. "Don't tell me it just happened. Things like that don't just happen." She stepped closer, crying. "Ryan was there when you weren't. I was lonely, Ethan." I laughed bitterly. "Lonely? I was working double shifts so we could afford our future. You knew that?" "I know," she said, voice breaking. "But he listened. He understood me in ways you didn't." The words cut deep. "Understood you?" I said slowly. "You mean he used you?" "No," she said quickly. "He made me feel seen." I stared at her, trying to recognize the woman in front of me. "So what am I supposed to be? The man who pays the bills while my brother keeps you company?" Her shoulders shook. "Don't say it like that." "Like what?" "The truth?" She cried harder. "I didn't want to hurt you." "Then why did you?" She hesitated. "Because I couldn't stop. I thought I could end it, but every time I saw him, it just— Don't," I said sharply. "Don't finish that sentence," the room spun. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it. "You could have told me," I said quietly. "You could have said you weren't happy." "I tried," she whispered. "You never noticed." I stared at her in disbelief. "You're blaming me?" "I'm not," she said quickly. "I'm just saying, it wasn't all black and white." I clenched my jaw. "You cheated, Sophia." "That's pretty black and white to me." She sank onto the couch, sobbing. "I didn't plan it. It wasn't a choice at first." "Betrayal doesn't need a plan," I said coldly. "It just needs a moment where you say yes instead of no." She looked up, eyes red. "I love you, Ethan, I do." I shook my head. "Don't use that word." "You don't get to say you love me and him in the same breath." "It's not like that." "Then tell me what it's like," I demanded. "Make me understand." She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Only a broken sob. I turned away, staring at the dark window. My reflection looked hollow, unfamiliar. "Was it him at the family dinner?" I asked quietly. Her silence was the answer. I nodded slowly. "Of course." "Ethan, please," I laughed, but it came out strangled. "You held his hand under the table, right in front of me. Do you know what that felt like?" She covered her mouth, crying harder. "I'm sorry. You're sorry now," I said. "But last night you weren't." She reached for me. "Don't walk away." "I can't breathe in here," I muttered, pulling from her grasp. "Ethan, please." I stepped toward the door. "You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. It didn't mean I stopped loving you," she said, voice shaking. I turned, eyes burning. "Then what does it mean?" She stared at the floor. "That I'm broken." "No," I said. "You knew exactly what you were doing," she whispered. "I hate myself for it." "Good," I said. "At least one of us feels something real." I opened the door. The night rain hit my face instantly, and cold, sharp, almost cleansing. "Where are you going?" She cried behind me. "I don't know," I said. "Away from this," her voice cracked. "Please, don't leave like this." I paused under the porch light. There's no other way to leave betrayal. Then I stepped into the rain. The water soaked through my clothes, but I didn't care. The cold helped me feel something other than rage. I walked aimlessly through the street, my mind replaying every laugh, every kiss, every lie. Her late replies, her sudden silences, her distant eyes, they all made sense now. By the time I reached the corner, I stopped feeling anything at all. The rain kept falling, washing over me, but nothing could clean what she'd done. By morning, I was numb. The only thing left inside me was silence. The news spread faster than I thought it would. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't have to. Families talk, neighbors whisper. At breakfast, Mom stirred her tea, pretending not to know. "You're eating well?" she asked softly. I stared at my plate. "I'm trying." Her eyes flicked to me, then away. "Sophia called," she murmured. Of course she did. She sounded lost. I clenched my jaw. Don't, Mom, please. She nodded, her lips trembling. Your father's angry. Mostly at Ryan. I don't care, I said quietly. They made their choices. Dad walked in, face stern. You look tired, he said. I'm fine. He sighed. I raised you both better than this. I met his eyes. You raised me better. Ryan made his own rules. He didn't reply. The silence stretched until Mom whispered, maybe in time? There's no in time for betrayal, I cut in. Not when it's family, Dad rubbed his forehead. What do you plan to do? Nothing, I said. Just move on, he nodded slowly. That might be the hardest thing you'll ever do. When I left the house, my phone buzzed again, Ryan's name on the screen. I stared at it until the call ended. Then I blocked the number. By the time I reached work, I felt like a shell of myself. Ava noticed the moment I sat down. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I lied. She raised a brow. That's a terrible lie, I sighed. Rough week. Rough like your face says you haven't slept in days? I gave a small, humorless smile. Something like that, she hesitated. Coffee after work? I looked up. Why? Because you look like you're about to explode, and I make good listeners. I didn't argue. At the cafe, the smell of roasted beans filled the air. We sat by the window, rain tapping against the glass. Ava leaned forward. So, what happened? For a second, I didn't know where to start. Then it all came out. Every detail I'd been swallowing for days. The texts. The dinner, the rain. Sophia's tears. Ryan's silence. When I finished, I realized my hands were shaking. Ava didn't interrupt once. She just listened, her eyes steady, kind. When I finally stopped talking, she took a sip of her coffee and said, You know what I think? I looked at her. What? Sometimes walking away is the loudest revenge. I stared at her. That's easier said than done. Maybe, she said. But staying where you're bleeding isn't strength, Ethan. It's self-destruction. I let out a shaky laugh. You sound like someone who's been there. She smiled faintly. I have. And trust me, peace hurts less than revenge in the long run. Her words settled into me, quiet but heavy. When I left the cafe, the sky was turning orange with dusk. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe without feeling like glass was stuck in my chest. That night, I went home and opened the closet. Sophia's clothes still hung there, her perfume faint on the fabric. I stood for a long time, staring at the empty space beside mine. Then I pulled out a suitcase. Folding each of her dresses, I realized I wasn't angry anymore, not in the same way. Anger burned hot. This was colder, cleaner. When the bag was full, I zipped it shut and placed her engagement ring on top. The small diamond caught the light, mocking, silent, final. I loaded everything into my car and drove to her mother's house. The lights were off. I left the suitcase on the doorstep. No note, no explanation, just silence. As I turned to leave, I thought I saw the curtain move. Maybe it was her. Maybe not. It didn't matter anymore. Driving back through the quiet streets, I rolled down the window. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of rain and endings. When I got home, the closet was half empty, but the room finally felt like mine again. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my hands. They weren't shaking anymore. Ava's words echoed in my head. Walking away is the loudest revenge. For the first time since that night, I understood what she meant. Revenge wasn't screaming or breaking things. It was silence. Distance. Letting the guilty sit in the ruins they created. As I turned off the light, I felt something shift inside me. The pain was still there, but so was something else. Not peace. Not yet, but something colder, sharper, stronger, determination, and I knew this was only the beginning of who I was going to become. Time didn't heal anything. It just buried the pain under routines, work, sleep, repeat. People at the office stopped asking about Sophia. They treated me like someone recovering from an invisible illness. I preferred it that way. Liam leaned over my desk one morning. You've been quiet lately, he said. I like quiet, I replied. He smirked. Still not talking to your brother? I looked up from my screen. Do I look like I am? He raised his hands. Fair, just asking. I returned to my work, pretending not to hear the whispers around the office about Ryan's firm, his sudden outbursts, his drinking. By lunch, Ava found me in the break room. You've heard the gossip? She asked. About Ryan? She nodded. Apparently he's been missing meetings. Sophia called in sick 3 times this week. I sipped my coffee. I'm not surprised. You don't sound angry, she said softly. I ran out of anger months ago. She studied me. You still check their profiles, don't you? I paused. Sometimes. Ava smiled faintly. Human nature. But you know what's better? What? Watching karma do your work for you. Her words made me laugh for the first time in weeks. You always know what to say. That's because I've been where you are, she said. And I promise, they'll fall apart on their own. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. That evening, I opened my phone out of habit. Ryan and Sophia's smiling faces filled the screen. Dinners, vacations, fake laughter. Every post looked perfect, but the comments told another story. Ryan looked wasted last night. Is Sophia okay? She seems thinner. Something's off about them lately. I scrolled through it all, expressionless. 2 months later, I ran into my mother at the market. She looked older, more tired. Have you spoken to Ryan? She asked carefully. No, he's not doing well. I figured. Ethan, she said, lowering her voice. He misses you. I laughed quietly. Does he miss me, or does he miss who he used to be before guilt caught up? She sighed. You've always been the steadier one. I don't want to be steady. I just want peace. Mom touched my arm gently. You have it now, don't you? I hesitated. Almost. When I got home, I found an envelope in my mailbox. No name, no return address, just a photo inside. It was of Ryan stumbling out of a bar, half conscious, with Sophia supporting him. Her face looked hollow. Her eyes, the same ones that once begged me for patience, were lifeless. I stared at the photo for a long time. Then I dropped it into the trash. The next week, Liam came by my cubicle again. You won't believe this, he whispered. Ryan's company lost a huge client. Something about missed deadlines, I kept typing. He'll survive, you think? He always lands on his feet, I said, though my voice lacked conviction. He chuckled. Golden boy finally cracking, huh? I didn't respond. That night, I found myself standing by the window, city lights reflecting off the glass. Somewhere out there, my brother was drowning in the same lies he built his happiness on. For once, I didn't feel pity. Ava called. You okay? Yeah, I said quietly. Liar. I smiled faintly. Fine, I'm watching karma work. Feels good, doesn't it? She teased. Strange, I admitted. But good. The next morning, I saw another post. Sophia alone this time, captioned, Taking time to heal. The comments were worse now. Where's Ryan? Breakup? Didn't they just move in together? I closed the app and laughed under my breath. That evening, I was driving home when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. Sophia. I made a mistake. I stared at it for a full minute. Then I typed nothing. No anger. No reply. Just a deep breath. I deleted the message and placed the phone face down. For the first time in nearly a year, silence didn't hurt. I went to the balcony, the wind brushing against me, the city humming below. I realized I didn't need revenge or apologies. The world had its own way of balancing things. Sophia was learning it. Ryan too and me, I was finally free. I didn't write it for her. I wrote it for me. The paper was blank for a long time before I picked up the pen. Then the words started pouring out. I loved you more than I loved myself, I wrote. And maybe that was my mistake. Each line felt like pulling glass out of my chest. I gave everything, I continued. Time, trust, pieces of myself I'll never get back. You said love meant patience, but maybe it meant blindness. Maybe I refused to see what was already gone. I stopped and stared at the page, my handwriting shaky. I believed in us, I wrote again, slower this time, even when you were already believing in someone else. The room was silent except for the scratch of the pen. My thoughts came in waves, some calm, some violent. Trust, I wrote, isn't just about faith. It's about choice. And you chose someone else. That's how simple it really was. By the time I reached the bottom of the page, my hands were trembling, but my chest felt lighter. When I was done, I folded the paper carefully and placed it on the table. It wasn't meant to be sent. It was meant to stay, a confession to myself. Later, Ava dropped by to return a book. She saw the folded page. "What's that?" she asked. "A letter," I said. "To her?" I shook my head. "To me," she tilted her head. "Can I read it?" I hesitated, then nodded. She sat on the couch and unfolded it gently. As she read, her expression softened. By the end, she looked up, eyes glistening. "Ethan," she said quietly, "you're finally free." I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. "Feels strange. Freedom always does," she said. "Especially after carrying chains you got used to." I smiled faintly. "You always know how to make pain sound poetic," she grinned. "That's because I survived mine, too." We sat in silence for a while. No pity, no awkwardness, just peace. When she left, I stared at the letter again. Part of me wanted to keep it, but another part, the newer, colder part, wanted it gone. Before I could decide, my phone buzzed. A number I hadn't seen in months. Ryan. For a moment, I considered ignoring it. Then I picked up. His voice was slurred, broken. "Ethan, hey man." "It's me. I know who it is," he sniffled. "She left me. I said nothing. She packed her things. Said she couldn't do it anymore." He laughed bitterly. "Guess karma works fast, huh?" I leaned back in the chair. "Guess so. I'm sorry," he said. "For everything. I didn't mean for any of this to happen." "You keep saying that," I replied quietly. "But you meant it enough times to make it real." He sobbed softly. "Can you forgive me?" I thought for a long moment. "I already did," I said finally. "You did?" "Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'll ever forget." He went silent. The sound of his breathing filled the line. "I deserve that," he said weakly. "Yes," I answered. "You do." Then I hung up. I sat there for a while. Phone still in my hand, heart strangely calm. The letter lay on the table, folded and quiet, a reminder. Not a wound. I picked it up, stepped outside, and struck a match. The paper caught fire instantly, orange light flickering against the night. I watched the flames curl around each word, each memory, each ghost. When it was nothing but ash, I felt something inside me shift, final, irreversible. The past didn't burn with it, but its power did. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't holding on. I was letting go. A year changes more than time. It changes the shape of your silence. I don't wake up haunted anymore. The apartment feels lighter, the mornings quieter. I work, I read, I laugh again. Not because I've forgotten, but because I've learned how to breathe without holding on to ghosts. Sometimes Ava jokes, "You're almost unrecognizable. Good or bad?" I ask, she smiles. "Peaceful." That's rare. Peaceful. The word used to sound dull. Now it feels like freedom. When I hear Sophia's name, it doesn't sting anymore. Just a dull memory, like a scar that doesn't hurt, but still remembers where the blade went in. Then one evening, a friend texts me. "You coming to Mia's wedding?" Sophia's on the guest list too. For a second I hesitate. But then I smile. "Yeah," I text back. Wouldn't miss it. The venue is warm, golden light strung across an open garden. Laughter hums like soft music. I spot familiar faces, old friends, easy smiles, and then her, Sophia. She's standing near the bar, wearing a pale blue dress. Her hair's shorter, her posture smaller somehow. She laughs politely at something someone says, but her eyes look miles away. For a moment, I just watch her. Not out of longing, not of understanding. We both survived the storm just differently. Ava nudges me. "You okay?" "Yeah," I whisper. "Just finishing a chapter," she grins. Then close it with style. I take a slow breath and start walking toward Sophia. She notices me halfway and freezes. The color drains slightly from her face. I can tell she didn't expect me to actually come. "Ethan," she says softly. "Hi." "Hey, Sophia." Her eyes flicker over me. My suit, my calm expression, the steadiness she probably doesn't recognize anymore. "You look." She starts, then trails off. "Different?" I offer, she nods. "Happy," I smile. "I am." For a heartbeat, silence settles between us, the kind that used to feel heavy, but now just feels complete. She looks down, fiddling with her drink. I didn't think you'd talk to me. I didn't think I'd need to, I admit. But I guess time has its own plans. Her laugh is short, almost sad. You always were better at moving on than me. No, I say gently. I just had to learn sooner. She looks up, her eyes glossy but calm. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. For how it ended. For how I was. I study her for a long moment. You don't owe me that anymore. I do, she insists. You didn't deserve it. Maybe not, I reply. But maybe I needed it. Her brows knit together. Needed it? Yeah, I say quietly. If it hadn't broken me, I'd still be the man who thought love meant losing himself. Now I know it doesn't. She stares at me, searching for something. Forgiveness, maybe. Closure. Are you happy? I ask. She swallows. Trying to be. That's a start. We both smile. Not the old kind, not the forced kind. Just a small, tired, real one. The DJ calls everyone to the dance floor. People cheer. Music rises. The moment between us begins to fade naturally, like a candle burning out without drama. She looks around nervously. You should go dance. You always loved weddings. I love peace more now, I say with a smirk. She laughs softly. Guess I taught you something after all. Yeah, I say. You did. Her smile falters. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Sophia. I turn and walk away, slow and steady. No anger, no ache. Just quiet release. Ava meets me halfway. Well? She teases. It's done, I say simply. She studies my face. And? I thought seeing her again would hurt, I admit. But it didn't. It just reminded me how far I've come. Ava nods. That's what healing looks like. As we walk out into the night, cool air brushes my face. I feel the weight I used to carry and realize it's gone. Completely gone. I glance at the stars, whispering to no one. Thank you. Not to her. Not to fate. But to the pain itself for shaping me into someone who finally learned to stand alone. Because it wasn't a story about losing love. It was about finding myself after it broke. Me. The past no longer hurts. It just reminds me who I became.